it was a very useful discussion, and the first time that we've really sat down in a frank and open way with 18 Republican leaders from the House, with the President, the Vice President, and the Secretary of Treasury, Secretary Lew, to talk about a path forward here. And it was a good dialogue. It was a dialogue about the debt ceiling and making sure that the full faith and credit of the United States of America is sound. And so we put a temporary extension on the debt ceiling. We talked also, I must say, about the budget and how we move forward, and covering big issues that are important to us. We had obviously Chairman Camp to talk about tax reform. We also had Paul Ryan there, Congressman Ryan, to talk about budget issues. So we want to talk about entitlement reform, tax reform, things to jumpstart this government. That was on the table, along with making sure that we end the shutdown of this government and get America back to work.
Is it still a position of House Republicans that the Affordable Care Act has to be on the negotiating table as well in order to end the shutdown?
Well, you know, we haven't taken anything on or off the table. And frankly, the president talked about the Affordable Care Act and leaving that on the table also. So what was good and productive and useful about this was that discussions are beginning immediately with a sense of urgency, I think, and principle. And both teams have gone back to talk to their respective teams and are working through the night, through the weekend, until we get the job done and make sure that this government opens, make sure that our debt ceiling is extended on a temporary basis while we negotiate the bigger issues that Americans care greatly and deeply about, having to do with our debt and such.
The president has always said he's willing to talk about the Affordable Care Act down the road, but not, in his words, with a gun to your head or being held hostage. Is it your understanding that that position of his is any different now, that in order to end the shutdown, he would be willing in the immediate, to get the government open again, to do something on the Affordable Care Act, or is he still talking about it as being something down the road?
Well, we talked about ratcheting down the rhetoric and how important it is that discussions about guns to head or anarchists or default need to be taken off the table and need to be brought down on all sides of this discussion. That's important for the American people. Fear-mongering is not right. This is about doing our jobs and getting back to work and getting America back to work. And I would say, negotiating-wise, there is nothing on or off the table here. And we're working through the night. Again, useful conversation, and one that was entered into, I'd say, honestly, Anderson, in good faith by both the White House and certainly by House Republicans.
I want to bring in Chief National Correspondent John King, because I know he has some questions for you as well. John?
Congresswoman, we first met when you were chairwoman of the Missouri Republican Party and a successful state chairwoman. If you look at the Wall Street Journal poll out tonight, Republicans just 24% a favorable opinion of the Republican Party, just 21% a favorable opinion of the Tea Party. Both of those are all-time lows. Put on your chairwoman hat. There are a lot of your current state chairs, when you call them, who think shutting down the government over a fight they know that you can't win, defunding Obamacare, was not only counterproductive but politically foolish. Do you agree?
Well, we needed to have this discussion, and the American people...
You have to shut down the government to have the discussion?
No, well, we're not looking at polls, I have to tell you, John. This is not about polls. This is about governance and about coming together to get things done. And I'll tell you, House Republicans don't want to shut down the government. We're the ones sending funding mechanisms over to the Senate day after day after day after day, and have probably, by the end of this week, funded about half of the continuing resolution. So this is important work that we're doing. Now, it seems to be dying at the feet of Harry Reid at the moment in the Senate, but we continue to fund the government and will continue to do the work. I'm hopeful.